Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 4 of Dads on Wrestling. I am one of your co-hosts, the Renegade of Wrestling, JJ Williams, and Mr. TW is not here today. Mr. TW had an emergency. He had to go back up to Canyon Country, his home, and he's not going to be able to be here today, so it looks like the Renegade is going to have to go this episode of Dads on Wrestling alone. But we're going to get into a little bit of the Royal Rumble discussion. What is this? What the hell is going on here? This is my show.
My name is the Lady Killer, but you already know that.
What are you doing coming on to my show, sir?
Well, you know me and I know you, man, and thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate it. Big, long-time wrestling fan, WWE stockholder, the Lady Killer, Ray Larkin.
For those of you that don't know, my man just introduced himself, Mr. Ray Larkin, the Lady Killer. Me, JJ Williams, we go back to 2004. The original formation of the most hated fan faction in WWE history, the Enterprise.
Oh my goodness, the feuds we had with one Rob Van Dam, and let me just say, I know Meacham is a huge fan of RVD, but Meach, I got beef with RVD until the day I die. I will always hate that man, and I don't care if this gets 100 comments. RVD's career is going to go down harder than a hooker at Charlie Sheen's house, okay? He is done. RVD is garbage, just like those hookers at Charlie Sheen's house. That was 2 references in one. 2 references.
Man, I don't think Charlie Sheen has been in pop culture that much since 2.5 Men first started, like for real. But anyways, like I was saying before, the Lady Killer rolled in here in his Dodge Charger. Jeff Meacham couldn't make it here today to tape the episode, so I brought in a substitute, Dad on Wrestling. We're going to talk a little bit about the Royal Rumble, what we thought about it, the surprises. Lady Killer, why don't you go ahead and take us out with Edge and Dolph Ziggler. What were your thoughts on that matchup?
Oh my goodness, does it say it on the shirt enough? Edge and Christian are coming back real soon, and I'm so excited about it because Edge has become, as an Edge head myself, I've become more not wanting to watch him anymore. Honestly, as a WWE fan, I don't want to watch him anymore because he's not what he used to be. He would, you know, if you watch a YouTube from 5 years ago, he was in a hotel about to sleep with Lita, battling John Cena in a hotel room, to just getting in a war of words with Vicky Guerrero. I mean, what is that? But you know what it is now? It is Alberto Del Rio winning the Royal Rumble, going against Edge at WrestleMania, and maybe we can see a return of Edge and Christian.
Quite possibly. I'm a little bit upset about how the match went. It was a really, really good curtain jerker match, but I just think that Dolph Ziggler should have gotten the W, not necessarily the strap, mind you, but I think Dolph Ziggler should have gotten the W to push him a little bit more into the main event. In my opinion, Dolph Ziggler is ready for the main event spotlight, and even a disqualification or a count-out victory over Edge would have gone a long way in helping him further down the road as we get closer to SummerSlam and Survivor Series, when he could seriously become a viable threat to a world title.
You know, we've always had our disagreements, and this is one of them. I feel that Edge is the Los Angeles Lakers, as much as I hate them, but they're champions, just like Edge. And I feel Dolph Ziggler is no different than a 3rd grade high school basketball team. And I don't think he's on Edge's level, never has been, and never will be. But he'll always be Nicky to me. Next match.
Randy Orton versus The Miz. A lot of people thought that Randy Orton was going to walk out of there with the WWE title. I have been saying from day one, The Miz will not walk into WrestleMania with the title belt. He will lose it at the Chamber. He just went another step further yesterday, last night, Sunday, whenever it was, to push that storyline, and it looks now like he may actually even walk into WrestleMania as WWE Champion with what he started with John Cena in the Royal Rumble matchup itself.
First of all, big shout out to all the people in Los Angeles who watch this show, and all of you UPW fans. Miz deserves what he has right now, okay? And I was in a party last night, big Royal Rumble party at this guy's house, and it was amazing to see the reception that the Miz got. Both a little bit of hate, but a lot of love for the people that were out there at those shows when he was doing autograph signings, when he was the absolute nobody, getting ridiculed by people like myself, and saying he was never gonna make it, and you know what? Miz is the Justin Bieber of WWE. Never say never. You never say never. Yes, I used the Justin Bieber remark to take a shot at the Miz, but yeah, he is the Justin Bieber of WWE. You never say never on a kid like that.
But you know what? The Miz has been proving all his doubters wrong from the day he first won the United States Championship. And now he's proven to the WWE brass that he can be the man. That you don't always have to bet on the 5-knuckle shuffle and the 5 moves of doom. Women's match. Handicap, or it was supposed to be a handicap match, turned into a fatal 4-way with Michelle versus Layla versus the defending champion Natalya versus Eve. Really? What about Kong? What about Beth? What about Melina, who actually earned her title shot but was given that on Raw instead? Was like, here, you're not pay-per-view worthy. We're going to give you the match on Raw and put Undertaker's whore and Layla on the pay-per-view instead.
Seriously, when's Mae Young going to get another title shot? Seriously, I'm waiting. WrestleMania, Eve and Mae Young. Let's get Mae Young, the hardcore legend that WWE has left in that match at WrestleMania.
And then that, of course, brings us to the Royal Rumble match. 40 superstars, 10 more than there has ever been in a Rumble match before. And they had announced 34 names prior to the show, leaving 6 surprises. And the only real surprises that they delivered to us was Booker T and Diesel.
Well, no.
Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Hold on. Don't get me wrong. With WrestleMania being Atlanta, the home of WCW, to bring out, one of the outsiders and half of Harlem Heat as your surprises in the Rumble was good. But there are 4 other spots that could have been filled by other people without throwing in a midget, without throwing in Randy Orton and Dolph Ziggler, who had already wrestled, without throwing in Guerrero is Spanish for Jobber Chavo, without throwing in the Great Khali. I mean, seriously, what about Sting? What about Arn Anderson gimping out there? Just, let him get in there, give a spine buster to somebody, and then get eliminated over the rope. Seriously, Arn Anderson, WCW legend. Just throwing that out there. He needs to be in the Hall of Fame this year.
I don't know how I'm going to get criticism for this, but they were better off just throwing in Droz in the ring at that point.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
They might as well.
Really?
You
really?
know what? I have someone that was really close to me that even rumored to me that he was the secret GM. And I was like, it's just ridiculous how WWE is doing it these days. And that's why I come to these really controversial conclusions. And the reason I come to these controversial conclusions because WWE sometimes drops the ball on a lot of talent. VP. But I think that overall this Rumble proved a lot. And a lot of my friends told me this. The WWE youth movement is alive and well. And it took one man out of those 39 other men, out of those 40 other men, and that man's name was Alberto Del Rio. That man, if you guys don't watch his YouTubes, his stuff in Mexico, amazing matches. Just like Daniel Bryan, just like CM Punk, just like everybody else who came from the indies to the top. This man was a legend in his home country of Mexico.
Speaking of Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, I've got to say that first 4.5 minutes that they dominated the Rumble match was probably the best 4.5 minutes of the whole freaking match, because they got to transfer some of that Ring of Honor rivalry that they had and bring it to the second biggest stage on the WWE. Where was Awesome Kong though?
Well, I think Awesome Kong was, they're holding her for Raw. So she's going to be amazing once she makes it to Raw. She's going to come in and she's just going to dominate Eve. I know I was joking about Mae Young because I really don't care about the Divas division too much. But I think Awesome Kong's going to come in and she's just going to crush Eve. And they're going to set the stage for a real good bout either between Natalya and Awesome Kong or Beth Phoenix and Asuka.
You know, it's a good thing you mentioned the Divas division real quick because I just want to piggyback off of that. Check in the coming weeks for an episode of me and Jeff where we get into our thoughts on the Knockouts and Divas division. You know, you just mentioning that reminded me that we've got that one in the can. Should be coming in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So all you fans out there, dads on wrestling, that want to know what me and Jeff have to say about the Knockouts and the Divas, really going to want to tune into this one. It's going to be very controversial and very interesting. It looks like we're starting to get the wrap-up sign from Stat Boy, our cameraman, Ray, Lady Killer. I want to thank you again.
Thank you so much,
for stepping in for Jeff Meacham.
I love the shirt, by the way.
Thank you. You know, I got this off at www.shop.com. All you folks out there that are going onto the website, buying merchandise, buying tickets to the events, love him or hate him, you're putting money in his pocket, so keep up the good work.
But you already know that.